What's up, fellow entrepreneur? It's PK Patel from Midwest Corporate Credit, where funding your business is our business. Hey, do you want a free boat? What about having someone pay a part of your living expenses? Or even your business expenses for that matter? See, there's a standard definition of leverage, and I put my own spin on it, and I'm going to show you exactly how you could do the same. Okay, so before we get to the expensive toys, let's define leverage. What is leverage? It's when you create an income from resources that don't belong to you. So from borrowed resources. For example, you buy a house and you put 20% down, you borrow 80%, however, you get to keep all the equity once that loan is paid off. That's definition of leverage. That's the standard definition. Now, I have a little twist to that definition that could help you make more money. So PK's definition of leverage, it's when you turn your liabilities into income. And I'll give you a few stories and I'll give you some examples on how to do that. So the other day I was in downtown Chicago having lunch with a client that just went through our funding program. He's got a very successful e-commerce business and we were able to raise $200,000 for him. So he invited me out to lunch and I said, sure, no problem. So I went downtown and the client lives downtown and his warehouse is actually in the outskirts of the city. So I had to visit him on a Saturday when things are a little bit low key. And I still had a hard time finding a parking spot. So I'm a little bit late to this lunch and I asked him, like, Joe, how can you live like this? There's no parking. And Joe tells me a story that he's got what's called a deeded parking. So he's got his dedicated parking spot that he paid $30,000 for, and it's a standard 9x18 parking stall in his condo building. It's a high-rise condo building, and no one else could park there. It literally belongs to him. So he actually works during the weekdays and goes to his warehouse, which is in the outskirts of the city where there's plenty of parking. So what did Joe do? He actually took the spot and he rents it out to an accountant during the daytime when he's absent. When the spot is going to go unutilized, he rents it out to an accountant that works in the building directly across the street. So what he did was he took something that was going to be waste. That time is going to be wasted anyways from 8 a.m. to about 5 p.m. And if you know Chicago traffic, you know, to get from downtown to outskirts during rush hour, it's going to take Joe at least until 6, maybe 6:30 to get home. So they never cross paths, but here's how the numbers work out. So Joe is able to rent out this parking stall for $20 a day to this accountant. He gets a fixed income and he undercuts all the other parking lots that charge anywhere from $30 to $38 a day. So the accountant is saving a bunch of money by renting this parking stall from Joe 5 days a week, which creates Joe $400 a month in positive cash flow, and that pays for a good chunk of his HOA fees and it pays for the note that he has against the parking spot. So he turned his liability into an income stream. Last month I was visiting a friend in Florida and we went on this boat. We had an awesome time, and I don't know much about boats. I don't go on boats that much. I was already born with a tan, so I have no need to do that. However, it was fun. And I don't know much about boats. However, one thing I do know is they're extremely expensive. So I asked him, like, Mike, why do you have this boat? Aren't they wicked expensive? And he ran me through the numbers and he said he paid $80,000 for this boat, which is pretty pricey. And then he told me that including his note, his docking charges, storage, maintenance, fuel, what have you, everything all put together is right around $4,000 a month for round numbers. And he also told me that all he has to do is rent it out to a party or individuals that want to rent it out. And every day that the boat is out that he rents could bring in between $1,500 and $2,000 per day. So just doing the math backwards, I don't understand boats, but I understand numbers. So just doing some back of the napkin math, it takes about 3, maybe 4 days for him to break even and make a little bit of profit on the $4,000 that he has to cover in expenses. So that being said, everything else, the 26 to 27 days, the boat is his to enjoy and take out and do whatever he wants and just to hang out on. So he's able to turn his liability into an income producing asset. And keep in mind, if he's able to rent the boat out for any more than the 3 or 4 days, he could actually make money on that boat. So turn liabilities into income. That's the name of the game. For the last example of creating leverage to maximize efficiency, we're not going to have to visit anyone. We're not going to have to go anywhere. It's actually right here. I'm sitting in our conference room at Midwest Corporate Credit, and in our building, there are several other businesses, and not everyone has the luxury of having their own conference room. So what are we able to do? We're able to rent out this conference room, and they'll pay us a few bucks. They'll pay us whatever, $25, $30 an hour, and it helps offset some of our costs for our office building. So it's a liability that is otherwise vacant. We only use a conference room once or twice a week, so we still have the luxury of ownership and possession and use of it. However, we're able to rent it out during the downtime and minimize our liabilities, and sometimes even create some income depending on how frequently it gets used. So remember, turn your liabilities into income, and you could either make a lot of money or at least enjoy any asset that you want for absolutely free. Now, I want you to think of 3 examples in your personal or business life in which you could take a liability that's unutilized or underutilized and turn it into income. And let us know in the comment below what you come up with. It's getting easier and easier to do this with today's gig economy. Like the late Steve Jobs said, there's an app for that. Anything you want to do, there's an app for. You want to rent out your car, there's an app for that. You want to rent out a spare bedroom in your house, there's an app for that. And of course, if you need financing to do any of this, you could always go to applymidwest.com and click on the green button in the upper right hand corner, and we'll take care of it. If you enjoyed this video, share it with a friend. And while you're here, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you get an update next time I upload an awesome video like this. For Midwest Corporate Credit, I'm PK Patel. I'll see you next week.